All right, we're back. Like I said, this stream we'll be talking about Kid Cudi's latest album, Insano. That's kind of the main reason we're here. Give a reaction to that. I don't really know what to expect. You never really know what to expect from a Kid Cudi project. It kind of changes, ebbs and flows, and goes like all types of different directions with his music. You don't know if you're gonna get more of the traditional Cudi sound. You're gonna get him kind of experimenting, going rocky, going like psychedelic, going like all these different ways. Like, so you don't really know what you're gonna get from a Kid Cudi project. But I am a huge fan of his. Pursuit of Happiness is one of my not Pursuit of Man on the Moon series is one of my favorite kind of ongoing. I don't even know if it's ongoing. One of my favorite music series, music albums to have ever come out, especially from like that 2010s or late 2000s period. And he's produced some of my favorite music over the years. And like obviously his work with Kanye has been exceptional. Like he's influenced so many artists. Think Travis Scott, think about like a lot of these younger generation artists. And I don't think his music has quite evolved as much as I personally would have liked it, or it's continued to kind of be at like that top tier level as I would have liked. But his influence, his ability to create enjoyable music is still kind of there and prevalent. And I think his last project was Intergalactic was the name of it, the one he did for Netflix. I really enjoyed that one. I thought that was kind of the essence of Cudi that I really enjoyed. I think that he struck a good balance between like experimenting and like still kind of delivering on the sound that you want from a Cudi project. So yeah, like at the end of the day, like you don't really know what to fully expect going to a project from him. He kind of goes with how he feels at the time, but I did kind of read and see some interesting tidbits about the project itself, saying that he was inspired by Kendrick Lamar and on his tour and whatnot. Do I expect him to kind of go crazy with the bars and like concepts and like deliver this kind of like socially conscious or socially aware type of album music? No, not at all. But to hear him say that was kind of an influence for him going into this is interesting, to say the least. I don't really kind of connect their two musical styles together, but whatever that means in terms of what he output on here, I'm very interested to see. So without further ado, man, let's just kind of hop right into it. Kid Cudi, Insano, new album. It's 2024, so I guess it came out this month. You know, just another project that he's put out ever since he said he kind of was gonna retire, but he's still here providing new music, and I'm all here for it. I love Cudi, so without further ado, let's get right to it. Track number one. Often I Have These Dreams with DJ Drama. All right. I mean, obviously he also got influence from like other artists who have worked with Drama recently. DJ Drama is obviously very well known amongst hip hop heads from the early 2000s in terms of like his contributions to like the mixtape culture and putting out so much like iconic mixtape music and projects, and from the likes of Wayne to Jeezy to T.I. to everybody in between. Like anybody who's anybody at that time period wanted to work with DJ Drama, and that was like kind of a badge, a stamp of approval, and like saying that you've kind of arrived. And Tyler the Creator did it with his last project. He worked with Drama. He said that was always a goal of his, and it was really dope to see him kind of go back and pay homage to Drama, and like to see Drama kind of coming back out to the forefront, not just as an executive, but as like this guy whose voice was so important in terms of like tapes from that period. And to see him working with more artists, obviously Cudi is again doing that. I don't know if he was inspired by Tyler the Creator in that sense and specifically, but he is also kind of going down the same road seemingly. I don't know if this is a continuous theme throughout the project, but to hear Drama open up a project like this, it just brings me right back to like those early days of mixtape hip hop culture in the 2000s. Bro, production is nasty on this song. Like I love that kind of soulful sample that they use, especially from like the earlier 2000s in hip hop, and like I love to see it kind of coming back in a major way, and a lot of like this newer music and people kind of going back to that sound. I'm a huge fan of that, and it's a vibe, man, mixed with like those hard drums, the whining kind of soulful vocal sample with like the simple but effective like guitar loop. It's hitting right now. One thing I hate about intros though is when they get like a fire ass beat and they use half of it just for talking or all for talking. Like, why wouldn't you just turn that into the full song? Like, I need another like straight minute of this beat of you going in, because this is fire. Like, as much as I like Draw, I just want to hear you spin on this, because this fire ass intro. All right. Like I said, I'm not really sure what to expect from a Cudi project these days, but like that intro got me. Like, I'm in. I'm typed in. I'm locked in. I'm ready to go. I'm excited to see where this goes. Keep this going. Track number 2. Keep bouncing. Simple, yet very effective. Kind of like his bag. Like, that's when he's at definitely like where he's really flowing and he's in his bag, is when he can deliver like these really simple beats and melodies that just, when they combine as a whole, create this incredible vibe. And this is one of those songs I could definitely hear this going incredibly crazy at a concert or festival or whatnot. Like, it just matched up really well. Really hard, tough, knocking bass with really simple but effective and catchy melodies. Like, that's kind of Cudi in his bag, and like, this is yet another one of those. Like, this kind of slap, I'm not gonna lie. Keep this going. Track number 3, Get Off Me, featuring Travis Scott. Like I said, man, like over the years, especially on his career, he was such a huge influence on a lot of these artists. Travis Scott being one of those very specific artists that he influenced almost directly. And you can definitely tell, like, this could very easily be a Travis Scott song and production. Like, it very fits in that lane, but it's also has that Cudi feel to it. Like, there's a reason why they were like, he was such an influence, but like almost like in the reverse of kind of situations and circumstances, it feels like he's influenced by Scott on this song. If anything, like, this definitely feels more like a Travis Scott than a Cudi song. I'm not necessarily mad at that. It's got great energy, it's got great bounce to it, which is everything you kind of want and expect from like a Travis Scott song. But it definitely certainly feels like at this point he's almost influenced by his people that he's influenced more so than the other way around. And like, this would fit very well amongst Travis Scott's very extensive kind of catalog of music and sounds. Like I said, it's a solid track. Like, it's very energetic. It's got a great bounce to it. Production gets you going for sure. Perfect kind of show tune for sure. But like I said, it could very easily have been a Travis Scott song for me, and if you would have played it for me, I would have just assumed it was the Travis Scott number. And it's just kind of funny to see, because he was one of Travis Scott's biggest influences when he was coming up, and now it seems to be like Cudi's kind of feeding off of his type of sound, his type of music, and you know, I'm not necessarily mad at it. Overall, it's a solid song. It's a very solid song. He has yet to do anything like lyrically that I have really taken note of or has stood out. And like, he has kept it very much to a minimum, and mostly just melodies at this point. But we'll see if that trend continues. Let's go to track number 4, Mustang Dennis. No. I tried to get into the vibe, tried to get into the flow, but this just ain't it. Like, the production is kind of weird and off-putting. He's still not saying anything of really note or worth, really. Very much just relying on energy and melodies. And if you're gonna do that, the production got to be fire, and the production on this one just ain't doing it for me. So I'm gonna have to say,
No.
let's go to the next track. Wow, featuring ASAP Rocky. So again, a very energetic, bouncy number. Production is actually pretty solid on here, much better than the last track. ASAP is back. He is also putting out new music. He seems to be on a ramp up as himself for a new project, so that's also dope to see. I don't really remember last time we heard these two together on a track, so it's cool to see them back together. But it's an enjoyable song, and it's one, again, if I heard at a concert, at a show, at a festival, it would definitely hit. You can definitely hear this kind of getting the crowd going and whatnot, and getting really bringing the energy in that sense. But it's not a lot of substance here. Just repeating wow, 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 wow over and over again is kind of lazy. And it's kind of come to be expected from Cudi, honestly, in the last however many solo projects that he's done. It's just not standout. It's good, but it's not standout. Like I said, solid song, energetic, good vibes, just not special. Definitely not special. Let's go to the next track, Electro Wave Baby. Wait, what sample is that? What sample is that? I've definitely heard this. I definitely know that sample is very famous. I looked it up. It says it's Ace of Base. All That She Wants, which I'm definitely gonna be checking out after this one. But you know how I feel about, if y'all been following my reactions, y'all know how I feel about sampling kind of popular music, just reinterpreting it and putting hip hop drums over it and then calling it a hit. Like, to me, that shit is incredibly lazy, and it's the opposite of what sampling was kind of meant to be, where it was supposed to be kind of transformative and its own kind of art form. It's definitely become very lazy, especially in like kind of this drill scene of just taking popular song, adding some hip hop drums to it and calling it a day. But this one at least is somewhat transformative. That sample is very recognizable almost instantly for me. And while it is extremely recognizable in pop music, I do think he did a good job of kind of putting his own twist and flavor to it that works. And this is a vibe. This is a bop. It's very enjoyable so far. And we're definitely be checking out the Ace of Base sample after this. Yeah, I know that song. I gotta check that out. It's gonna boggle me. Can we speak about how much of a slap that actually is? I almost forgot how much of a slap that is, especially the chorus. Like, let that go on in any club, any bar. I promise you, 75% of that is going crazy and singing along to this. Like, this is a slap. Let's also talk about Ace of Base does not get enough credit for some of the work that they have put out. But this one, I knew I recognized that sample. It's very recognizable, and it was a hit for a reason. That shit is catchy. But I like what he did with it. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go to track number 7, A Tale of Night. Cool. I mean, again, like, it's a hard-hitting, energetic number, but it feels fairly hollow. That's kind of been my overall consensus for this album so far, is that there are a lot of good high energy tracks that I wouldn't hear again. I would listen again. Like, that would definitely get you going and perfect kind of like workout club party music. But like, in terms of substance and what he's kind of known for and why people kind of resonated with him so early, he really has not delivered that in any real form at this point. I know he got drama on here, and maybe that's kind of what the direction he's kind of going in, like more of a mixtape feel to it. But I don't know, it's kind of disappointing for somebody who is so revered and has such a special place in a lot of people. With the music, it just feels kind of hollow, not gonna lie. Feels kind of hollow. But let's keep it going. Track number 8, Cut Life. Again, kind of the same feeling, at least with this one. I think the production has the most movement so far, like the most layers, the most kind of depth and things going on to it that makes it a little bit more interesting. But overall, like, again, just another very high energy, hard hitting song that doesn't really deliver much in terms of substance, but it is enjoyable. Like, it was an enjoyable track. Let's keep this going. Let's go track number 9, Too Damn High. Yeah, like, I reacted to this when Yachty was on Faye Webster track video that we kind of reacted to earlier in this stream. Again, he's kind of doing this kind of this vocal effect that he's doing, where it's kind of what's the term that I use? Hard to explain, but it's kind of like wavering in and out, kind of like that weird vocal effect that Yachty has been employing a lot in his recent tracks and features. He's doing that again once here, and like I said, it's kind of hit and miss for me. Sometimes it works really well, sometimes it doesn't. But it is very interesting, and it does kind of pique your interest and pick your ears up. Like, am I hearing that correctly? Is he doing? Is this sounding how I think it's sounding? And he's at it again. Cool. If anything, it reminds me of early SoundCloud rap days, early Uzi Vert, like that kind of bouncy, anime-esque, lighthearted, poppy kind of production. And this is very much in that lane, and it's not surprising to see him grab somebody like Lil Yachty for a song like this, because it's definitely how they started out when they first started out their career. But unlike kind of Cudi, those artists like Uzi and Yachty kind of have evolved a bit from that sound, and like kind of branched out into like different areas of different sounds and different experimentations. I'm not going to say that, because Cudi has definitely branched out and experimented a lot, especially early on in his career. So I won't say that unlike Cudi, but this certainly feels like a throwback to those earlier 2010s when like SoundCloud rap was really popping, when like these kind of low budget anime synthy bouncy hip hop beats were all the rage. And it feels a bit late for him to kind of hop on that trend, but to have Yachty on here does kind of give it that stamp of approval and authenticity. And this is kind of his own version of that, and it works. It's not my favorite sound or favorite type of song, but it works. I will say that it works. That's the best thing I can say about this song. Let's keep it going. Track number 10, Get You Gone. Of course, one of my favorite songs that I've heard so far on this entire project is one of the shortest kind of lengths. Only 1:55, but I liked his flow a lot on this one. This is the Cudi that I'm a fan of. Like, I like when he flows. I like when he gets into these little pockets, and like, I think he really was doing something here. I think the production was great. I think everything was really mashing together, and this is the Cudi that I love. And I think this was honestly one of my favorite songs that I've heard so far, and it's kind of annoying that it's also the shortest. But whatever. Let's go to track number 11, At the Party, featuring Pharrell Williams and Travis Scott. Synth, whatever synth he's got going on in this production is absolutely tough. Like, it reminds me of Tron, the most recent Tron movie that Disney put out, which had some absolutely insane electronic music and synths going on. Obviously, thanks a lot to part to like Daft Punk and people that they employed for that, but it gives me the vibes of Tron, like that synth, like that kind of menacing, dark foreboding synth that like just pulls you in. He's got that going on here. And those drums, if I'm gonna assume those are from Pharrell Williams, they're very familiar. Like anybody that listens to a lot of Pharrell songs, those drums are very familiar, very hard hitting, very like, I don't know, very full sounding. Like everything about this production so far, I'm definitely feeling. It's one of my favorite songs just from the first 45 seconds or so already. And then that flute or whatever that is, whatever wind instrument they're putting on, I'm pretty sure it's a flute, whatever a flute that is on top of that, like the layers in this production are immaculate. Like this is a vibe. This is exactly the type of Cudi vibe that I like love so much from him. And like, I feel like he really got into his bag with this one, which is not surprising when you have Pharrell Williams and Travis Scott on the song together, but damn, this might be my favorite song right now. Finally, might have been the first track to really stick with me and stand out to me. Like the production is nasty on that one, like absolute vibe, pulls you in, sets a crazy soundscape, super layered, super lush, very synthy. Like there's just a lot of layered and like really special things going on in the production here. And then Pharrell Williams hammers home the chorus. Like Travis Scott does this thing, like everything comes together on his song, and it's definitely a standout for me. And finally, it's kind of took me a minute to get to that point, but this one is definitely one of my favorites. All right, let's go track number 12, Mr. Cooler. Tell me that don't sound like the Michael Myers Halloween kind of sample in there. That certainly sounds like that. That's super menacing kind of keys playing whenever he kind of appears. That certainly sounds like Michael Myers Halloween sample, and I'm all for it because that mixed with these incredibly hard drums.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Tough. Those drums, tough. That's all I can say. Those drums are tough. Not gonna lie, those drums are tough. Mixed with kind of like that, those haunting keys, which I'm telling you, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a direct sample from Halloween, the Michael Myers theme. But that was tough. Let's go track number 13, Freshie. Yo, I ain't gonna lie, this production gives me heavy Kanye vibes, from the drums to kind of like that synth playing in the background. Like this gives me heavy Kanye vibes, and I'm here for it because I think him and Kanye have produced some of the best music of his entire career together for obvious reasons. But like this is giving me very heavy kind of Kanye vibes, and I'm digging it because everything is hidden. Everything is hidden right now. Fire.
Yoga Lane.
Production was fire. Like I said, gives me very heavy Kanye vibes on that one. I cannot lie. And I think that's kind of when he's been at his best musically in many senses. And like drums were crazy on this one. Drums were absolutely crazy. And again, it's kind of getting my interest back as this album goes on. Like the production has definitely got much better, much more dense, much more layered, much more kind of like emphatic, and I'm feeling it right now. I'm feeling it. We're on a good low roll. Let's go track number 14, Tortured. So far, definitely feels like the most kind of classic Cudi song out of this whole kind of project. Kind of speaking, especially like lyrically and melodically, kind of speaking from a more introspective, emotional kind of aspect, speaking about his problems and his issues and his troubles, and like how he's kind of a tortured soul and dealing with that. And like that's kind of how he kind of came to be known and so popular, is that he spoke about these things that a lot of rappers and artists were not speaking on in such a kind of frank manner, dealing with loneliness and being a loner and an outsider and outcast. And now he's speaking about it being like this kind of tortured soul, tortured individual, and like that's something that resonated with a lot of his fans over the years. And like this is the most that he's been like kind of classic Cudi on this project so far, and production was solid. It was a vibe. It kind of laid a ample kind of soundscape for him to do what he does, and like it was cool. It was cool. Not my favorite song on the project, but it's definitely so far the most kind of classic Cudi sounding song on our project. Let's go to track number 15, X and Cud featuring XXXTentacion, who's been gone almost 5 years now, which is kind of crazy to think about, but like he's still obviously resonating if people are still willing to put his verses and feature them on songs all these years later. Let's check it out. What's that kind of piano keys from? I know that's from a XXX song he already had out before his passing, I believe. And it feels like he's kind of remixing that into his own kind of version, or hopping onto it and putting his own kind of twist and vision to it. But like, I know those piano keys from one of his more emotional kind of ballad type songs that X did. I forget on which tape and I forget the actual name of the song, but it's definitely right here, right in the front of my mind. I just can't remember exactly which song it is. But if you know which song I'm talking about, let me know in the comments down below. All right, cool song. Again, cool song. If anything, it kind of really enforces what I've always thought, is that X and Kid Cudi together would make some amazing music. They kind of all play in like a similar kind of resonant field, and they both are very experimental and not afraid to go like all these different places musically. And I think them together would have made some absolutely incredible music, and this kind of shows that they would mesh very well together. But like I was saying, this definitely sounds like a sample of one of X's songs that I couldn't remember at the top of my head, but I definitely remember it now. And I believe it is this song off of his mixtape 17 called Orlando. Those pianos very familiar sounding, and it was a very kind of deep, heartfelt ballad from X, which really kind of opened my eyes to just how versatile and like layered and full of depth he was as an artist outside of just the mainstream hits that you would kind of hear. And yeah, let's just check it out because I'm pretty sure this is the sample. Those piano, those keys, they stand out. Let's say that they definitely stand out, and I knew it immediately when I heard it. Yep, I was right. So if you were feeling this song, X and Cud, definitely go check out XXXTentacion Orlando, because he's heavily influenced on this song. He used the keys pretty much throughout it, and it's just a great song. One of X's songs to me, very heartfelt, very emotional, very sincere for somebody at that age. It was incredible, and it really showed off his talent as an artist. And to see them together on this song all these years later, and even though it's posthumously, obviously, it just reinforced how incredible I think they would have been together. Let's keep this going. We've got a few more tracks, so let's go to track number 16 called 7 featuring Lil Wayne. I mean, I've mentioned, especially over the years, especially the last couple of months, that Lil Wayne has been on absolute tear. Every feature he's been on, his whole project that he did with 2 Chainz, like he's just been bodying ish left and right. It's definitely felt like the old Wayne had come back in a pretty significant way. But on this one, it's just okay. I don't think he went crazy with the bars. There were some catchy lines in there. I assume with how much time is left in the track that that's pretty much all we're gonna get from here, which is kind of disappointing, because as much shit as Wayne has been bodying at such an elite level over the last few months, I was really hoping that we could kind of continue that and just let him cook, like they say. It would have been nice to see, but I mean, he's a good match. He can vibe with pretty much any type of sound or style of hip hop, as he's proven throughout his entire career, and he fits very well on this one. It just wasn't stand out as his other verses. Cool. Like I said, it was cool. I mean, he vibes very well. He flows very well with the whole entire track. And I mean, Wayne was definitely my favorite part of this entire song. I just don't think he went as crazy as some of his other stuff, but it is what it is. I mean, it's Wayne. It's cool to hear Wayne and Cudi. I don't know if they've ever been on a song together, but it is cool after all this time. I just wish he would have really let him cook. Like, I don't know, for real. The incredible tear that he's been on, I wish he would just let him cook. All right, let's keep this going. Track number 17, Funky Wizard Smoke. Why is this such a vibe right now? Why is this such a vibe? I was not expecting this. I was absolutely not expecting this, but this shit is a vibe. Such a bop. Yeah, that's fire. That was a vibe. Like I said, like, that's just a very feel good type song that he's also really, really good at. It's kind of like that perfect laid back vibe that you can kind of light one up to. Obviously, hence the name of the song. Mix in with a little UGK, a little pimpin' music, a little like 3 6 Mafia sound in there. Like, and you get this super wavy, funky, feel good vibe. That is Funky Wizard Smoke. That's just a vibe. One of my favorite songs so far. That is a vibe. Go to the next one, Raise Your Voice featuring Young Thug. Yo, good use of acoustic guitar can really elevate a lot of hip hop, especially modern hip hop production and beats. It's just ironic that he has Young Thug on here because Young Thug's protege, Gunna, is the one who really, I think, does some of the best use of acoustic guitar in his music and his production. And it just hits. It hits on the song. It definitely hits. That was a vibe. I don't know if Cudi and Thug have ever worked together before, but they definitely mash very well on here. And if anything, it really kind of makes me miss Young Thug, because I think he brings such a unique voice and sound and like adds a lot of different flavor to music. And we might not be in that for a very, very long time. But overall, this song, it slaps. Like I said, good use of acoustic guitar, and a lot of like, especially modern hip hop production can do a lot for a song. And I think they did it extremely well here. It was a vibe. One thing Cudi has always been known for is creating an incredible vibe in his music that can seemingly transport you to like another plane of existence. And this is one of those songs that you can just kind of really, really vibe out to. Go track number 19, Porsche Topless. It was a vibe. Very celebratory, triumphant, feel good type song. Much like guitars can do, acoustic guitar can do a lot for a song. Horns can do a lot for a song, which isn't used nearly enough these days in hip hop, but especially in the early to mid 2000s, you would hear a lot in songs that would do so much to elevate just the overall feel of the song. And I think they did a really good use of this to make it kind of like this big, bombastic, triumphant sounding anthem, and they accomplished it. This is just a feel good song from Cudi. 2 more tracks to go, so let's go to track number 20, Blue Sky.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Like that!
Yeah, that is classic Cudi, man. That is classic Cudi. Just feel good, that vibe, feel good vibes kind of take you to another planet, put you in a kind of a trance. It's definitely much similar in the same kind of sound wavelengths of like a Pursuit of Happiness, which is obviously is one of his most famous songs, and a lot of people resonate with that one. It's kind of playing in that same type of auditory lane, and it definitely delivers same type of feel. So it's like, it's such a feel good song. It's probably the most feel good song in this entire project. It really takes you to another place. You can vibe out to it completely. Just overall, like, man, it's just a vibe. and the Cudi vibe. And when Cudi kind of does his infamous humming on songs, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It can sometimes hit this just resonant note that just feeds directly into the serotonin part of your brain, and like he does that on this one. Maybe not quite as good as say like a Pursuit of Happiness, but still incredibly enjoyable. Definitely one of my favorite songs of the project so far. All right, last song we're gonna do, last song on the entire project, track number 21, Hit the Street and My Nikes. Let's go. Solid way to end the album. Hit the Streets of My Nike is another very good song, very good vibe, very feel good, great production. The drums were absolutely going crazy on that. Just a very strong end to the album as a whole. I think in general, from about track 11 on down, about halfway point through this entire project is when it really picked up steam and started to resonate with me. The first half wasn't really doing it for me. It was feeling very hollow, not lacking a lot of substance, and just kind of generic beat energetic songs that were solid but not very fulfilling until about track 11 on, and then I really started to kind of dig into this album a lot more. And I think that's just my overall feel. Like there were some very high points and some very kind of moments in this album. There weren't a lot of I want to say, I would call them the songs necessary throwaways, because if I heard them again, I wouldn't necessarily be mad at them, but they're not songs that I would necessarily be searching for when I'm looking for like a Kid Cudi moment or Kid Cudi vibe, like especially in the first half of this album. Second half, there are definitely some songs that I would find myself going back to pretty regularly. First half, he started out strong with the intro and then kind of faded as it went on. Then halfway point, he really kind of started to hit his stride, which really kind of brings me to the point that I think that if he kind of cut a lot of the filler tracks or cut down the track listing on this, it would have hit in a much different way, a much stronger way, and he would just put his strongest foot forward. I think less would have been a lot more here. And considering that he seemed to have been kind of trying to go the mixtape route, having DJ Drama obviously all over this, and kind of having that feel, especially with the production and some of the features as say a mixtape, I think it would have significantly hit harder and been more resonant if he would have just put his strongest songs here and kind of cut out some of the filler. But I understand the streaming age more get you kind of more streaming, let people kind of pick through what they want. But overall, is this gonna be one of those Cudi albums that stands out in his discography as a whole? No. Are there some songs that definitely stand up to a lot of his past and some of his best work? Yeah, I think there are some songs that will definitely stand up to some of the things that he's done in his entire career, like Blue Sky. Blue Sky is definitely one of those. Funky Wizard Smoke is one of those for me. I like At the Party a ton. Like there are definitely some moments on here that I could definitely see can stand up to like some of his best work in its entirety. But as a whole, I don't think the album is gonna really stand out that much in terms of his catalog. But I don't think it's necessarily a bad album. I just don't think he's really kind of found his groove again in terms of being inventive, being creative, and still kind of finding a way to relate to his audience. Because like I said, early on in his career, a lot of people resonated with him, not just for the musicality of everything he was doing, but kind of like his lyrics and his subject matter. Obviously speaking about being a loader, being an outcast, and kind of trying to find his way in a world, and like feeling kind of like dissonant from like everything that is kind of mainstream resonated with such a large crowd of people. And maybe he's kind of healed from that, and I understand it's kind of hard to continue down that route when you have essentially hit superstardom and you're like appearing in huge giant blockbusters and pop singles and like #1 hits. Like it's hard to continue to be like this loner or like this outcast when so many people have kind of embraced you, and you know, maybe you're not dealing with that same type of feelings as you go on in your career, which is natural. But I don't really think he's found another way to kind of relate to his audience, and a lot of it has come off kind of feeling hollow and just hollow and shallow, and production and melodies can only carry you for so long. And I think that's kind of something that he's still trying to figure out to this day. And obviously he's going to get a lot of flack because I think some people are going to be like, oh, he was influenced by Tyler, oh, he was influenced by Travis. Well, obviously, but at the same time, like, he influenced those two, a lot of those artists himself, and they've continued to kind of like build upon that sound and that foundation that he's laid. So it's hard to like not find those similarities when it comes to his music. And I don't think like he's really evolved or elevated himself musically in that sense, but he still is capable of some really great music and sounds. I just don't think he's fully capable of it for an entire project these days. So I don't really kind of expect that from him. I just expect to find songs that I like and resonate with and kind of go with that. And that's pretty much what he gave us here. And while I do kind of find it like it is a bit disheartening that he seems to be kind of stuck in this route or this kind of mode and not able to break out of it artistically or creatively, it is still good to get Cudi music, because I am still a Cudi fan at the end of the day, and I think Cudi fans will still find very enjoyable parts here. I just don't think it's gonna move the needle musically like his older stuff used to, which isn't a bad thing. He can still put out music, he can still put out songs that will resonate with people when he goes on tour, goes on in shows, goes on in festivals. It's just not something that is pushing the envelope anymore like he did when he first came out. And I don't think we'll ever get to that point again with Cudi at this point, but it is what it is. Overall, I think it was a fairly enjoyable album. I think as the second half kicked in, things really started to pick up and he started to deliver some really fantastic music, honestly. The first half, I could have pretty much almost done without it completely, but it is what it is. You guys let us know what songs did you enjoy most on this one? Which ones didn't you? Where do you kind of stack this up in Cudi's discography? Are you disheartened by what you heard, or are you kind of encouraged by what you heard? Let me know in the comments down below wherever you guys are watching or like listen to this. And yeah, that's it for this stream.